What's up, guys? How are we doing today? One day away from the NBA season, tipping off. I'm going to get into changing gears right now as we divert from all the NFL and Major League Baseball stuff we've been doing here, and even some of the hockey stuff. We are going to go live right now and talk about the opening day of the NBA action that we have tipping off on Tuesday. I'm doing this video a day earlier because I wanted to go live, and I got a lot of people that are going to be tuning into the channel. So welcome back from last year. If you're a new face here, make sure you guys all like, comment, and subscribe as always, guys. And be sure to let me know who is in the chat watching. Light up that chat right now. Say hello. Do what you got to do. Hopefully, there was a lot of people from last year. Hopefully, there's a lot of people that have maintained some of the sports that we've been doing here and not just been watching for NBA, because there are a lot of offerings within all major sports. We are approaching the sports equinox as well, which is an exciting time where we do have all four major sports running at once, which presents a lot of better betting opportunities. So I figured I'd go live. We'll talk about it. We'll get into some of the talk. If you guys have anything you want to mention in the chat, feel free, go ahead. We're going to get into this season preview where I go over some of the big storylines as well. And we'll get down into it once we get some more people in the chat. I did send it over on the Discord, so hopefully people have picked up to what we're doing here. And I know it's kind of a pop-up live stream. I didn't announce it or schedule it. But that is kind of where we're at. So let's hit some of these numbers. Like I said, guys, make sure you guys all like this video. Hit the like button if you have not done so. We do have pretty much everybody in the chat has hit it. Hopefully we get a lot more people in. But as you guys all come in, make sure you hit that like button and throw me some hearts, emojis, whatever you got to do. Let's get this thing popping off. But let's say hello to a few people. Paul, welcome back. Channel member out there in the chat. How you doing today? Christian, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in and commenting, okay? But let's get into kind of a season preview before we look at these two games. We'll be talking about the games tomorrow between the Knicks and the Celtics, as well as the likes of the T-Wolves and the Lakers. So we got a little East Coast action, West Coast action to tip off that Tuesday night in the association, all right? So the big storyline here is, will the Celtics repeat? Coming in here, you can see the opening number for them before the season kicks off is plus 310. Beneath them is the Thunder, Knicks, Nuggets, T-Wolves, 76ers, Mavericks, Bucks, Lakers, Suns, Warriors, Grizzly, Heat, Pelicans, Cavs, and Pacers. And I'm going to stop it right there because that's about as far as I'll go down the odds board. And funny thing about last year, if you did watch the NBA action in the finals, I believe it was like 3 of the top 10 teams that were preseason on the preseason odds board for futures. 3 of those top 10 actually ended up making the playoffs. So that was a very interesting kind of storyline that we had go down in this 2024-2025 season. The biggest thing going for us right now is which teams have reloaded, which teams have revamped, and which teams will repeat, okay? I can tell you guys right now, just from doing some research before the season started and some little kind of nuggets along the way as we were getting ready for football season, some of the summer numbers where people were jumping on, the most commonly bet futures market was between the Cavaliers and the Indiana Pacers at 60-1. Now, that is a lot of value as we look at that futures board. 60-1 for a team that just re-signed Donovan Mitchell. Also, we do get the Pacers with a healthy Siakam. It's going to be interesting to see how that all transpires to go alongside, Tyrese Halliburton and company. So I do like both of those teams in the East as a value play. If you want to look at them at 60-1 to go to win the finals, or if you want to just dive into the conference winner, you can see right here where the Eastern Conference winners, they do sit at 22 and 25 to 1 respectively. Okay, now in terms of a champion, obviously the Celtics, people are going to be keying in on them. The Boston club that is plus 310, that's a little bit low for me. That is a very overwhelmingly heavy favorite as we look to kick off the association in this campaign. I can look just briefly at the Nuggets. They're at 10-1 almost. Obviously, shop around for futures numbers. The Mavericks, okay, from all accounts, they are looking to become more of a defensive-minded team. That's going to be an interesting thing to see as they get away from that old, running the offense through Luka and what they like to do, okay? But that's kind of where I stand on it, okay? I'm not really big on the whole LeBron James narrative, all right? But it does seem to be in terms of the MVP market as we pull up those odds boards here in a second. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. We do see Karl Anthony Towns now joining up with the Knicks. Recent comments, he wants to be the best shooting big man in the game of all time that he has made. We do get Paul George headed over to the 76ers. He did have a little bit of a hiccup. He is injured, but he does look to be, by all accounts, something where we look at the Knicks definitely losing Julius Randle, but definitely reloading in terms of adding Paul George to the fold. That's going to be an interesting one. So a lot of people do kind of key in on the 76ers sitting there at 10-1. Myself, not so much, okay? I really don't like backing Joel Embiid. Despite being an all-generation talent, just can't stay healthy for me enough, okay? We could talk about Anthony Edwards getting older, maturing a little bit. The T-Wolves look really juicy there at 10-1. But for me, guys, it's going to be either the Celtics or nothing, and I'm not going to play the Celtics at plus 310. I talked a little bit about the odds, and if you want to go down in value, even the Bucks at 14-1 looks pretty juicy. We do get John Morant back into the fold. The Memphis Grizzlies 40-1, not entertaining that. So for me, it's going to be somewhere in that 60-1. If we are going to take a flyer within the Cavaliers and the Pacers, you can look at the Heat at 45-1. That's some value that presents itself. But more so, for me, it's going to be the Cavs or the Pacers at that big number, joining the sharper bettors there in the futures market, okay? Outside of that, you can find these 10-1 numbers just throughout the season, so it's not something where I'm going to look to kind of just throw myself at this early on. Injuries in this NBA season do kind of snowball, and we do get some weird occurrences that, you can't really game plan or expect as early as it is right now in October before we've even hit the opening day. So that's kind of where I stand on that. We look at some of the awards here within the awards market. I want to share with you guys kind of that. If we can find a little bit into the likes of MVP, I want to show you guys some stuff that we have going on in a play that I'm going to make as we look into the awards market. Okay, so regular season MVP, obviously Luka and Jokic are dominating that. For me, SGA at 4-25. You can look at that snub last year. That's a very big pace, but for me, the big one that jumps off at the page, and it might come as a surprise to most, but Giannis Antetokounmpo, okay, 8-1 right now on the odds board for the MVP. If he can play a full season, and I expect his usage to be at an all-time high this year, and when his usage is up, his stats are up. So if Giannis can stay healthy at 8-1, that is my best bet for NBA MVP. Put it plain and simple. I think that's extreme value. Okay, I can guarantee you one thing: if Giannis is healthy around the All-Star break, that number will be closer to 2-1, 3-1, or even 4-1 in that 2-4 department in terms of the odds there within that. And I do think that's a little bit low as we enter the season. So we'll see what we get on that front. I'm not going to play Luka. I'm not going to play SGA at these numbers. If anything, Jokic at 4-1 is a very strong value play. See if he gets it again. But for me and my money, the big number 2 also is Victor Wembanyama at 17-1. I don't know what we're really going to get from him or what to expect. I know that the defensive numbers are just kind of admonishing and just out of this world in terms of defensively what he's able to bring to the game. So Victor Wembanyama, I think that number has moved a lot. It's down to 17-1. That's a wait and see for me. If you do want to take a flyer, I think we're a little bit too late to the party. Okay. Embiid at 25-1 is a little bit juicy as well, but like I said, health concerns with him and what he does, in his availability, I'm just not really liking that. Okay, and you add in Paul George to the fold. How does that dynamic transpire? So for me, like I said, guys, it's going to be Giannis at 8-1 before the season starts. That's where the value is. That's where my head's at. Okay, but let's look into some of the more storylines that we have going for us. But guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys all like, comment, and subscribe. Richard, what's up, man? Luis, welcome. Thank you for commenting. Please feel free to drop some more comments as well. Let's try to get this sent out to as many people as possible. Okay, but let's talk about some of the storylines as we've noted. We do have a couple things going on. The most notably is LeBron and Bronny James. Like I said, I'm fading the Lakers. I don't think that this is something where he's even in the NBA if he did not have that, I guess you would call it, I don't even know what the word would be, but, it's pretty much plain and simple right there in front of us. We can all connect the dots on that one, but I'm off the Lakers. I don't see that one being anything of any kind of, substance. LeBron's getting older. He's getting up there. Yes, he probably had one of his best years last year at the age, I think, of 37. I think he turns 38 this year. Or actually turns 39, I believe. I'm not sure on that one. I think he's 4 years older than me. But anyways, like I said, I'm not really on the Lakers. It's just kind of a brand name with a brand player, but I'm not a big AD fan either. So that's going to be kind of where I'm at. We talked a little bit about the MVP race with what Luka's looking to do. I think it's, like I said, it's a four-man race right now on paper. It's going to be Giannis, Jokic, Luka, and SGA. And I probably would lend towards the argument that we could make for SGA and Giannis being the best odds available right now in its current state. And then obviously what we have at the bottom of the odds board in terms of the worst team in the NBA, that's going to be the biggest storyline too, is because the sweepstakes have begun as we look for Cooper Flagg as being the number one prospect off of the board coming out of Duke at the ripe old age of 17. So that's going to be a big storyline to watch and track as the season goes on. But we talk about Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and Paul George forming that big three in Philadelphia. That's going to be exciting to watch. We'll see what actually happens, who stays healthy. Big year for Tyrese Maxey, okay? Big year for Tyrese Maxey, okay? Let's get into some comments real quick. Jim Bob, hey, congrats, man. 3,200 on the over. Nice play out there. That's been a strong play with overs in postseason baseball. I do like for the likes of the over in the World Series as well. So I'll add that to my kind of betting tickets as we do the World Series videos in my analysis. I am going to be on a lot of overs. I might actually just blindly play the over in every single game between the Dodgers and the Yankees, just to be quite honest with you guys. All right. Some other things we talked about: Karl Anthony Towns going to the Knicks. That's been a big swap with Julius Randle. Good move. Maybe not as much as what they gave up. DiVincenzo leaving the Knicks and that Villanova pipeline. That's been a big storyline to monitor as well. We'll see what actually happens within that, screwing up that chemistry. But I think it's an upgrade for the Knicks, truthfully. So Karl Anthony Towns is reliable. He's dependent, and look for the Knicks to be very strong contenders this year as well. We look in kind of how it all shaped out last year. It's pretty much all the same, guys. I expect the same teams to be at the top once again. The only really closet sneaker teams that we could see make move would be the Phoenix Suns if they get a little bit better, I don't want to say chemistry, but if they get a little better mindsets. I do see the Suns having a little bit better of a season this year. Stock down on the Clippers. I don't think they have much now. We can talk a little bit more so about the end of that era in Golden State. I think that's kind of where everybody's been put on notice there, as well as kind of the New Orleans Pelicans. They look to be another sneaky team out there in the Western Conference. Conference, okay? In terms of the East, we did talk a little bit about the Cavs and the Pacers, but also keep an eye on that young bunch down in Orlando within what they're able to do. I think that's something with Ben Caro. He's going to have a very strong campaign this year once again. Very impressed with what he's able to do. Would love to have him in a Cavaliers jersey. But for me, guys, it's pretty much the 18-loss Boston Celtics. They're on repeat mode. I think that's pretty much cut and dry. And we look for all the same with the likes of maybe the Knicks and the Cavs, kind of giving them a run for their money. The one team that kind of catches my eye that's a little bit low, we'll see what the Heat can do. They had some injuries last year, 46-36 on the season. But they are kind of that sneaky team with a great head coach and a great core group of guys. So if they stay healthy and they get some chemistry, I could see them making a move over the course of the season, but not too much in the war of contending. So for all of us that are looking into the futures, I think that's kind of all the same news. It's just a different year, okay? We'll look in the rookie of the year market just because Paul brought it up. And Zach Edey out there at plus 350. I was never a fan of that big man. I don't think he has the endurance or the conditioning to sustain the NBA game. Got to drop some pounds, got to be able to run the floor. He's going to get in foul trouble quite a lot and often as a rookie, so I don't really agree with him being the favorite there at plus 350. You can kind of dabble into that Dalton Connect market, plus 1100. If he's able to just do something up there in LA, I think that's going to be a very strong steal. The Lakers in the draft did some very strong work there, in my opinion, within the draft last season. And outside of that, guys, I really don't have any strong indication on any of these guys. You could look in some of the foreigners there. There's quite a few. I just don't think it's clear-cut. Zach Edey plus 350, set it and forget it. I don't really like that, just to being quite honest with you guys. As I pull up the odds board, you guys can see for yourself. So that's kind of how I feel about that one. So with that being said, we kind of did a very nice preview of the 2024-25 campaign. If you guys throw up any things in the comments, I will be sure to respond to it. But we are going to dive into the first game tomorrow in the East. We're going to look into the outlier here, where we dive into the Knicks-Celtics game, where you can see right now, guys, we have a opening number at plus 5.5, total set at 223.5. We are going to look into this kind of in a interesting kind of way, because Karl Anthony Towns coming into the fold is really going to change that dynamic, okay? And I do think that, this is something where we look into the ring ceremony, so on and so forth. I think that a lot of people are just going to be banging the Celtics, but for me and my money, I will be on the Knicks plus 5.5. You can find a 6 up there juiced up. That is something where we look into kind of this big addition, okay? We get another season with Mikal Bridges within that Villanova connection within Jalen Brunson. And I think it's going to be kind of a revenge factor, okay? If the Celtics, on their banner night don't come to play, the Knicks have that revenge spot. They're going to be on a business trip within that mentality. I think that we look into kind of what the Celtics have lost. It's kind of where it's kind of an interesting game and kind of a precursor to what we may possibly see, quite frankly, at the Eastern Conference Finals yet again. Big fan of the Celtics, really am, truthfully, but I just want to tell you guys that I think this is something where on the cusp of the Raise the Banner night, if you will, in the Garden there at the TD Ameritrade Center, I believe it's called. I will be on the Knicks plus 6 as a best bet. Not going to look into the total, possibly let a few games get under our belt within the association before we start diving into the totals. At first glance, 223.5 seems a little bit much. We'll see what kind of defense we get the first game of the season. But for me, I'm going to be Knicks plus 6 as my best bet. If you want to look into some of the prop bets, you can probably dabble into the likes of the Karl Anthony Towns three-point market. I think that he's going to be jacking. I think that you look in kind of what Tom Thibodeau is going to want to do. It's kind of a weird fit because defensively, Rudy Gobert coming over from the T-Wolves might have been a better fit for that Tom Thibodeau led club. But this is something where I do think he's going to light up the stat board, and he is going to eventually start shooting 3 points along the way. And I do like Karl Anthony Towns. possibly, like a little sneaky number here. If we do go under Karl Anthony Towns in his 3-point market, I think that's kind of where I would sit, just because I think that he's going to be playing a different style of basketball down on the block, at least at first glance. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. The strongest play I have is the Knicks within the point spread there. +6, we'll take that juiced up. I don't want to take a 5.5 and risk a free throw ruining our night. So +6 there for the Knicks will be my best bet. Okay. Next, we are going to look into that game between the T-Wolves and the Lakers. Who's going to start? I don't really quite frankly know if Bronny James, when he's going to come off the bench, if he plays at all, I should say. But we do get a kind of banged up Lakers team coming in here. Rui Hachimura is kind of out. We have Jared Vanderbilt's out. AD's questionable. Russell's questionable. Reeves is questionable. Connect's questionable. Everybody's questionable. And we can look over on the T-Wolves side. It's pretty much all the same there as well. Okay. Very strong club. They do add Dante DiVincenzo to the fold. That's a strong addition for the T-Wolves to go alongside the Naz Reid, Anthony Edwards, Inglis, Randall, Gobert, and Conley. Out the gate, I do like what they added in Nickel Alexander-Walker as well. And Jaden McDaniels, obviously, closet good 3-point shooter there within some of these sneaky little prop plays you can do within the association. But for me, guys, we're not going to use too much of the 2024 campaign. I think that we see a big night out of D'Angelo Russell in this game. But for me and my money, guys, I'm on the Timberwolves money line -117. I think they take down the Lakers on opening night on the road. I think they're going to be I think they kind of got a little better too, if you want to hold a gun to my head and ask me. I think this is kind of where we look at the Timberwolves adding DiVincenzo. In some weird way, Karl Anthony Towns leaving that club may actually help them, but them adding DiVincenzo and Randall, I definitely think that's going to be a upgrading class as their bench gets deeper and that rotation as well does get deeper for the Timberwolves. So I know they're playing in LA. I know it's opening night. I know that we look for all the Lakers to be healthy. For the most part, but I do think that this is something where the Timberwolves are a better club. If anything, you can see this being a little fishy number or a wrong number, but I think this is, if this game was played last year, the Lakers would be a 3 to 4 point underdog at home in this spot. But for some reason, we do get a discount here. Minnesota is -117 on the money line, and that's kind of be where I'm at. Okay, so I just want to see LeBron play a little bit. I want to see kind of where he's at. I know he does a bunch of stuff for maintenance in terms of being ready to play. But for me, guys, this is something where we look at the Timberwolves here. This is a complete steal, if you will, with what we're able to get on the number, where I'm going to be taking the Timberwolves there on the money line -112. Okay, nothing really we can kind of relate to in terms of matchups, because these are all going to be based off last year's stats. And if anything, guys, I probably would go on the side of the total, where we look at this game and you want to talk about kind of where the number's at. We look at this at 218.5. For me, guys, I think that's a little bit low. I think I'd probably go over. But this early on in the season, there is really no clear-cut way to go about it, because we don't have the data points yet. So not really going to go too crazy week 1 of the NBA season. If anything, you can take some sneaky teams once we get going and we get a full slate. Take some underdogs on the money line, all that good stuff. But for me and my money tomorrow, it will be, if I had to bet it, it will be the Knicks +6, and the Timberwolves on the money line will be my 2 best bets outside of getting into some props, which I think we need to fade the Karl Anthony Towns in terms of the 3-pointers. I think that's where he's going to be playing a little bit more so down low as they get kind of accustomed to that new kind of chemistry within Jalen Brunson. And Jalen Brunson, he's going to be dishing a rock as expected. I think that they're going to need 3-pointers, but I just think that the way Thibodeau wants to run this offense, we will get a more interior presence from Cat early on as we kick off this season. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at. As always, guys, appreciate it. Let me know your comments in the comments box. Who you guys going to be on? Feel free to hit me up on Discord as well. If you have not joined us on the Discord, make sure you do, where we'll be talking a lot about the NBA as we kick off the season. I did post my picks for Monday Night Football up for the NFL slate. Got 2 games. I love the double slates, so that'll be a fun one as we get into the 7 o'clock hour, I think that's when it's really going to start to get live. And then obviously that later game with Arizona and LA out there on the West Coast. So appreciate it. I do kind of echo the M. Hernandez Dodgers in 7, but I'm not really ready to anoint the Yankees as being that team that's going to make it to 7 games. I probably would have the Dodgers in 5 or 6 if you wanted to ask me what my prediction would be. I just think the Dodgers pitching staff's going to rebound enough in a way and kind of show up, and I just trust their bullpen a little bit more than I do the Yankees at this current moment in time. Plus, postseason experience does play a role as well. You look at Freddie Freeman, you look at Mookie Betts, you look at the list of pitchers, the relievers that have had it postseason experience. Will Smith, Kike Hernandez. I just really like the Dodgers here in this series. I'll probably just bet them on that series price or the World Series champion to lift that trophy. I'll probably take the Dodgers, and that may be my way of just betting the series instead of betting the individual games, to be quite honest with you guys, because I just don't really see any merit or value sometimes in trying to predict these games on a day-to-day basis where home field plays a role, but we're going to get a lot of points. I'm talking basketball and football. We're going to get a lot of runs in these in this World Series in this game 7, in these 7 games if we do get 7. So that's kind of my opening thoughts for the World Series. I believe that kicks off Friday, so that'll be exciting stuff. We'll have that on, as well as the Boise State. I believe it's Boise State UNLV on Friday night, so that'll be a fun one to watch in the college football landscape. Boise State, I believe, is coming off of a bye, possibly. Let me just check this out. I don't want to misspeak here. But yeah, Boise State, UNLV, 10:30 kickoff Friday. So that'll be one of their tougher tasks. Will they make the 12-team playoff? Will Ashton Jeanty win the Heisman? That's kind of the big storylines as they get that primetime game. Unfortunate, though, it's going to be airing 10:30 here on the East Coast because I don't think a lot of the East Coast viewers are going to be able to watch Boise State on a Friday and really enjoy the Ashton Jeanty spectacle that we'll be able to see where he showcases his running ability, probably gets 2-3 touchdowns, a cool 300 yards, and Boise State cruises to a win against UNLV. So it's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it. We'll have that on as well as the World Series, like I said. But for tomorrow's plays within the association, can't really go too crazy with props. Probably go under more so than not. And early on in the season, wait for some more data points because I'm not going to use 2024 numbers to kind of ballpark that. In terms of props, so for that Lakers game, like I said, I'm probably going to stay away from the LeBron James stuff till I see how much he's going to play early on, what kind of dynamic we get. I think there's a little bit more of that distraction narrative than we're making out to be, and I really would take the Lakers under their team total if we're being quite honest with ourselves. Just getting up there in age, adding his son into the fold, it just really screws up that dynamic in a way that I think it's going to maybe trickle into the locker room. So for me, guys, like I said, it's T-Wolves all the way. I don't really agree with the numbers, so maybe the experts out there in the desert know something more than I do, but I'm going to be all about the Timberwolves tomorrow in that contest. So that'll wrap it up. That is a conclusion to my kind of pop-up live stream. Thank you all for tuning in. Good luck with your picks tonight on Monday Night Football, and we'll see you guys all tomorrow on the channel as we talk about the action we have going on Tuesday within the NBA, as well as I believe we have college football kicking off as well. Yeah, we do. So that's what we got. And it's actually kind of just one game, 2 games actually. So 2 games slate in college football.